You are now connected to Evoking Evolvement with our international team.
Danny's in
Fantastic.
California, USA.
And
Spain. Wow.
in Spain. And Vlad is located in Spain, Europa.
I like your Spanish, Danny. Well, through our core discussion, interviews, and relating our personal life awareness, we help to make your life journey a little bit more peaceful, maybe joyful.
Yes. And allowing our podcast to educate, evoke, and by all means, entertain. And that is the key word in today's episode. Yes.
Okay.
Which we have entitled Milestone Age. So we welcome Joy Fahey, who resides in Frigliana, Spain.
Spain for one more week. Only one more week.
Then she's moving again nearby.
Nearby, Torrox, which is great.
Now, if Joy will, I would like to talk about this fantastic woman. Okay, I'm not trying to.
Where was she? Sorry, did I? Did you invite someone else?
Let's call her Andalusian Joy.
Yeah. Oh, hi.
I mean, I'm not trying to kiss your ass. Well, you know, I don't.
Why not?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there's enough of it. You won't miss it.
Already the three of us are entertaining you. Anyway, Joy is a self-described eccentric artist. She was raised in Manchester, UK. Now, as I said, lives in Frigliana, Andalusia, south of Spain, as an artist and teacher. Her town is very near the province of Malaga, which I love.
Love. Yeah.
It is a delicious place to live. Joy has had exhibitions all over Spain. She teaches online courses and she offers other several art retreats throughout the year around her southern Spain home. Her passion for painting began at the age of, 13, I guess, or, when she won a competition for art. I mean, really gave her the, oomph to, get started. It, validated her passion. Now, as a side note, a huge influence on Joy was the famed British painter, William Turner.
Mr. Turner, yeah.
And if our fellow viewers have not seen the exceptional and stirring 2014 biopic called Mr. Turner, I'd highly advise.
It's fantastic. It
gives such insight into this talented artist.
And he was such a funny little man, anyway.
Yeah, he was. He was a character. He was a character. Now, Joy didn't start out as a painter. No. She, at the age of 2, she started training as a dancer. Yes,
I did. Yeah,
she worked professionally as a dancer until she was about 32, and along the way, she had got into a major motion picture called The Boyfriend. Twiggy and Tommy Tune. I love both of them. Yes. And at the milestone age of 30, following the death of her son, which we will get into a little bit later, Joy began to paint seriously. Eventually, she attended art school. And after a divorce, she met a new guy and lived in Hong Kong for a couple of years. Then she returned hometown, had several exhibitions, and then moved to jolly old London. There, she was employed by Cabochon, a high and fine jewelry company, working with them for about 9 years, and and
She sounds very interesting, this
and
woman.
becoming a millionairess. Yes, our Joy
Yeah.
was a millionairess. Can you believe it?
Yeah. No, not anymore. I can't. What happened?
And after this job folded in London, she moved to Spain, where she resides today. And I guess you've been there about a little over 20 years.
23 years. Yeah, this
23
will be my
years.
24th year. I moved in
Wow.
2000. Yeah. Wow. Yeah,
My
it's a long
God.
time.
Well, first of all, Vlad and I both want to congratulate you on turning the big 7-0.
The new 40, I think.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
How is
Yeah.
it? How is it there?
Well, it's very strange. My spirit is still very willing. It's just the bloody body that doesn't cooperate. But anyway, it's fine. I like it. I like the fact that I can sort of hide behind it in a funny sort of way, you know. And
Well,
people are polite to you when you're older. The people they hold doors open for you and speak to you nicely. It's kind of interesting. They don't whistle at me any longer, but they're very polite.
I don't know why.
So,
If you
I
could,
mean, my God, I would whistle.
what is the
thank you.
best? If you imagine that you are promoting your age, actually any age can be promoted, I think, in one way or another. If you could promote your age, you say, what is the best of that fantastic number?
I think having the benefit of hindsight and having a little bit more self-awareness and a different thought process to life. And I feel that you kind of, how would I describe it? I live very much more for the day and now. Life becomes more and more precious, and I don't think you take so many things for granted. And it's kind of interesting because with my group that I have of my art students, I do a masterclass every month. And for January, I decided I would change it and just have it as like planning for the next year. So, when back in the day when I was with Cabochon, I used to do a lot of training on sales training and goal setting and all that kind of thing. And, we were all kind of passionate about setting goals, what we were going to do in, a year's time, 5 years' time, 10 years' time, 20 years' time. And, suddenly I'm here in that 20 years or 30 years' time. So the goal mindset changes. It's more about completing on promises that I've made to myself, if that makes sense, and making the best of every day. I mean, I've never been one for getting up early, but I would say in the last year, it's normal for me to be up at the crack of dawn because I want to make the most of the day. And I find that kind of really exciting because I'm fulfilling things that I thought, oh, I'll do that next week or I'll do it, sometime. But now I do it, now because otherwise I might never do it. So, yeah, that's what I would say. It kind of focuses your energy about life and appreciation a lot more. How's that? Does that sound good?
So you mentioned doing things now. You mentioned goals. Can you name like a couple of goals that?
Well, yeah, because they're not. It changes from goals to completion for doing things that you've had, going around in your mind. I suppose you could kind of make it a bit like bucket list type feeling idea that, finding this house. I'm moving next week, and the house that I'm moving to, it's somewhere that I visualized in my mind for a long, long time, to have the space for a studio that I can really make the most of. And I'm so thrilled to bits that this place has presented itself, because it gives me the opportunity just to fulfill all the other things that I want to do there. And so those goals, I think, come to you. I think how would I put it? I'm being double Dutch here. Even back then, 30 years ago, when I was doing training on goals, I always used to have this idea. First of all, to start with the end in mind. So know where you want to go. Secondly, know where you are. And thirdly, write it down as specifically as possible, and then leave it completely. You clarified what you're going to do, what you want. And I have to say, through each kind of decade, those things that I've written down, I can go back and say, I've achieved that, and that happened, and that happened, and that happened. And it's phenomenal how that happens. And it's not like, how would I say? I've had something to do with it because I've clarified it. But at the same time, because you've focused your energy, somehow the universe comes in and presents it to you. Not necessarily at the time that you want it to be presented. But I feel that if you keep focused and enjoy the journey, it comes to you. I really, really believe that. And all major events that have happened in my life have happened with that happening. I mean, crazy stories I could tell you about things that have unfolded by how would have that been possible? I couldn't have thought it through, because they've just happened. And one thing I will say, when I came back from Hong Kong and I moved to London, I was in a really challenging space. I was living in a basement flat in West Kensington. It was awful. It was like a bedsit. I had very little money and it was not good. And I was painting and exhibiting on Bayswater Road on a Sunday. Bayswater Road is a long road next to Hyde Park in London, if you've ever been. On a Sunday, all the artists go and hang their paintings on the railings. Right, it's probably about, I don't know, a kilometre long or a mile. Anyway, so that's what I was doing. Feeling a bit sorry for myself, but any case. So there was this one Sunday, it was pouring with rain, and I thought, I've had enough of this. I went and got a newspaper, and I thought, I better find a job. I need to make some money. And, I'm trained as a dancer. I paint. What do I do? Anyway, cut a long story short, or we'll be here all night. I sort of went through the Sunday Times and found this thing as a PR. I thought, okay, I don't know really what that is, but I'll inquire anyway. So on Monday I phoned and they gave me an interview, and it was in Covent Garden, which was great because I know Covent Garden really well. And I had to get on the tube, and at Earl's Court tube station, this girl came tottering up to me. She had a white skirt on, very short, black stockings, white shoes, and she looked like a prostitute, basically. And she came up to me and she said, do you want to earn some extra money? This is deadly serious, word for word. And I looked at her and I thought, what? I was going for this interview. I thought I looked fairly okay. Anyway, it turned out I just burst out laughing. And but she spoke in a very posh voice. And her name was Cindy Day, and she was an actress, and she was going for an audition for a soap opera as a prostitute. So she dressed the part. But she'd been introduced to a network marketing company called SNA. Anyway, they sold water filters. It was all the rage in the late 80s, early 90s. And she invited me to go to this meeting of this water filter company and listen to their pitch, you know. Anyway, so I thought, what the hell, I'll go. And we corresponded and we landed up going together to this meeting. And at this meeting, I met this very aristocratic woman who was my mother's age, called Chiquita Nevin Dumont. And she kind of took me under her wing slightly. And she had a house. It comes together. She has had a house in Marbella, right? And she used to come backwards and forwards to London from Marbella. And she was a very good friend of Princess Beer Auersberg, who was selling jewelry in Marbella. So she used to bring this jewelry over from Beer Auersberg to London and sell it. So we were talking all about that, and she asked me if I'd like to help her a bit with it. Yeah. And then through her clairvoyant, this is how amazing things work, and that happened to me so many interesting times throughout my life. Anyway, the clairvoyant had met a German woman who was setting up a jewelry company to import jewelry from wherever, Germany and China and Taiwan and blah, blah, blah. And she linked up this woman, Petra, to Chiquita. And Chiquita phoned me and she said, this woman has asked me to go and look at her jewelry. Will you come with me? Yeah, I'll come with you. So we went, and it was in a place called Wandsworth in London. And there was a big room, not enormous, but a big room. And all the floor was covered in this jewelry. And she gave us a box of it. And she said, go and see if you can sell it. Okay, seems fairly easy. So instead of selling in London, I said to Chiquita, I've got a lot of friends in Manchester because, you know, family and friends. I'll phone one of them and ask them to get a group together, and we'll go and we'll do a party in Manchester. So she said, okay. So off we went, and did the party. In 2 hours, we sold £1,200 worth of this jewelry. You know, we came back on the train like millionairesses. It was phenomenal. And that was the start of Cabochon, the jewelry company that I got involved with, which was a network marketing company. So that was 1990. 1995, I'd got a team of over 50,000 women in my group. The company went from naught to 140 million turnover. It was phenomenal. And we were in 17 countries worldwide. But it all started off on Earl's Court Tube Station being asked if I wanted to earn some extra money.
By a prostitute. By a prostitute.
By a prostitute. Yes. Isn't that fantastic? So, and it was amazing. I bought a house, and I had it was just tremendous. Absolutely amazing, except the woman that owned it was completely crazy, and she let the whole thing implode. It was a terrible shame, and it all came to an end in 1998, which was very sad. But anyway, we had a fantastic time. I traveled the world, was all over the States. I spent nearly 2 months in the States and met loads of wonderful people. And I was in all over Europe. I was in Japan. It was fantastic. So what my goal for that was to earn enough money such that I could paint full time. And that's what happened.
Wow. I mean, what a story.
Just funny. One funny story, but it was just incredible how those pieces all just came together. And things like that seem to happen all the time if you just kind of let go and allow it to happen. So Maybe something like that will happen again between now and when I'm 100, but you never know.
Now, what do you think if you could maybe create a design and advice or some sort of conclusion from the experience that you have just shared?
Mm-hmm.
And imagine that you are giving an advice for a very young person. So what could it be?
Mm-hmm. I feel that the most important thing is to never force an issue. You know, you can't force things to happen. You have to allow things to happen, and you really have to. How would you say it correctly? You have to be interested in what you're doing now, rather than constantly saying to yourself, I want more, I want more, I want more, I want more. Be involved with what you're doing now and get the most of it. Set your stall out. So have your goal. So I want to make $5,000 a year, a month, for example. Okay. What are my talents? Well, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. I'm doing the other. I might be working in a job. I could be doing a number of things, but you never know when the universe is going to come and present you with something. If you've just said that's my goal, now I'm going to concentrate on being the best I can be every day, then you go with the flow. But you can never, ever, ever force anything. All the things I've forced have all gone wrong, and I've landed up in horrible situations.
So basically, the cliche of just staying in the moment and appreciating it and enjoying it.
Yeah. And being thankful for where you are and what you've got. You know, I've been very thankful for this house. It's been a great stepping stone to the next place. But I know that whilst I've been looking, I've got very frustrated with it because my studio is not big enough. It's very cold. It's very small. It's dark, and I haven't gelled. But when I took on board, I'm really lucky to be here. I've got a lovely little house. I've got a lovely garden, and I'm really thankful for that. If it never changes, I'm going to be grateful for where I am. And then suddenly something comes. So living in the now and being grateful for anything that you've got, anything and everything.
You've I want to know what keeps your hope. Where do you get that hope? I mean, some people would just go to bed and put the covers over their head, and maybe you have, and that's fine. But you've gotten up. You have fallen down, as we all have in life. That's part of life. Mm-hmm. But you have gotten up and gone on. You've had hope. I mean, other people may turn to alcoholism. Some people would maybe commit suicide, etc., etc. Where does this this hope, this drive come from within you?
I'm very conscious that we are in an amazingly privileged position to have freedom to make a decision. And I feel that gratitude is one of the main motivators. You know, you can get up in the morning, but what are you getting up from? You know, probably a bed. So you can be grateful for having the bed and the covers and the pillows, and you're in a room, a bedroom, or wherever you might be. Whatever, I think, whatever the situation is, you need to be grateful for it and thankful for what you have. And for me, I just feel I want to increase that. I don't know how I feel about it. When I get up, I'm very motivated to discover something today that I didn't discover yesterday. And I feel that I've been in depressive times. I've been in horrific situations when I've had absolutely not a penny to my name and wondering what the hell. And that most recently of that was where are we now? About 6 years ago. And I was in a real mess. And I landed up having to go and live in the basement room of a friend's house, which was tiny. I'm in my studio. It was probably not much bigger than the space that I'm in here. And all my stuff, all my art stuff and everything was put in a stable. And I was in this tiny little place feeling, that this was the end of the road. Anyway, I decided I better stop feeling sorry for myself. I think you've got to get out of pity party very quickly. Feeling sorry for yourself is the kiss of death. You can't feel sorry for yourself. You put yourself in the situation, you can get yourself out of it. Anyway, in those days, I was a great listener to Abraham Hicks, Esther Hicks, Abraham. And I used to lie on my bed in this tiny little room and just listen to what she was saying. I'm thinking, this is never going to happen. But I thought I'd just listen. I'd just kind of let it soak in. And one day, I thought, right, I've had enough of this. I'm going to go and find an apartment. And I don't know what I'm going to do because I had no money. Anyway, I was shown an apartment and it was fantastic. I thought, okay, I can move there. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to move there. And about 3 or 4 days later, I got a telephone call out of the blue from an ex-boyfriend of mine who I'd absolutely adored. And hadn't spoken to him, I don't know, for about 2 years. And he phoned me and he said, I've been thinking about you and I think you need some help. I said, what? I said, his name was Ian. What a fabulous guy. Oh, I loved him. Anyway, he said, I'm sending you £1,200. I said, what? He said, yeah, I just got it on me that you've been in my mind. I know we haven't spoken for ages, but I know that you need some help, so I'm sending you the money. Text me your bank account. The deposit and the first month rent for the apartment that I'd seen a few days before was £600 for the rent and £600 for the deposit. So, yeah, it's fantastic. I think so. I feel that just that thankfulness, gratitude for what you have takes you to the next space. If you're sitting there moaning and worrying and complaining about your situation, you're compounding it all the time. You just pile whatever you think about in that, you add more to. And that's how the universe works. What you put out, you're going to get back. So if you're putting out self-pity and, anger and bitterness and all that stuff, you're just going to get more of it. So what's the point in doing it? There's no point.
That makes sense.
And I know only too well.
What do you think, Joy? What could be that message maybe that can switch from one mode to another if a person is in that situation of self-pity?
Okay, well, my switching switch is I take my dog for a walk and I study just the sky, the clouds, the trees, the landscape, the beauty of it and how miraculous it is. Or go outside at night and look at the stars. And, we're kind of like a tiny little blip in comparison to. And I feel then you get out of feeling isolated. You open yourself up to that amazing creativity, that creation, it's magical when you think about it like that.
Love it,
And I
man.
feel my thing is I'll go walking. I will just try and relax, take a lot of breaths. I do quite a bit of meditating. Again, just focusing on all those things that I'm thankful for. Even like sitting here, having this lovely little computer of mine, who's my best friend in all the world, speaking to you in Madrid, speaking to you in California. I mean, it's phenomenal. All the people that have had the idea to make the computer, to put it all together, to be able to, who came up with the idea of Zoom, actually took the idea and made it into us being able to have this conversation. Don't you think it's fantastic?
Oh my, it's
I,
fantastic.
I think it's,
I like this picture you are painting. And now,
yeah.
I think I can see your colors, your true color, as the song says. What do you think, Joy, if one of your paintings, imagine it, were painting you, your personality, what picture would it be?
Oh, yeah. Oh my goodness. Well, I suppose I can say that with all my paintings because that's what I'm painting. I mean, this painting behind me here, that's kind of a really interesting one. I painted that. Sadly, my brother-in-law died just before Christmas, and it brought up a lot of emotional things for me about people who've been very close to me who've died. But not all the time, but occasionally I feel their presence with me tremendously. Suddenly I can, oh, hi, you're here. And that's what I want to express. So when you say about me, I'm expressing that with those kind of paintings. I don't know. I don't really know how to. Some days I'll do something like that. Some days I'll do some crazy thing that I'm doing here with collage. And I think that's the fantastic thing about painting and being creative. Someday you might write a poem, you might write a story, you might, I don't know, go and do some ceramics. You could do many, many different things, make some decoupage or paint a pot or something. You kind of just allowing yourself to be something, to produce something creative, and that makes you feel good. I feel. I mean,
Speaking,
when with sorry.
I'm sorry. Go ahead and finish.
Okay. No. I mean, for all of us, everybody is creative at some level or another. With whatever it is that we do, what your passion for your coaching and learning about that and helping people, you're being creative, you're bringing something of your heart and soul to help somebody. You with all your writing, Dan, you couldn't do that unless you had that feeling inside, could you? So we're all got that creativity. It's just some people, unfortunately, tell themselves that they're not, and they don't understand that connection in themselves. And I feel that whenever you do something creative, you are making connections with yourself and therefore making connections with other people. I mean, we're all joined, really. We're only, we're all energy, aren't we?
No,
So
it's very true what you say. I just want to go back because you were mentioning death, and I think this might be a good time if you will share with us um, the death of your son.
yeah, that was well, that's a very long time ago. I was 22 when that happened, and his name was Nathaniel, and I love that name. And he was born at home, so it was all kind of lovely. And then one night He was 5.5 months old. We lived out we were sort of fairly in the country, although we were near quite a main road. We were sort of in the country. My husband at the time was away in Germany, and I came to put him to bed, and he looked up at me, he touched my face, he closed his eyes, and he died. And it was like, just, how would you describe it? I don't know. And it was very frightening and very shocking and horrific, really. And I hadn't spoken to my mother very much. I was very close to my guardian. That's another whole story, which I'm not going to go into. So I phoned him. He was away, but he lived in a very big house with another couple who were also very good friends of mine, and they came and helped me, and then the ambulance came and da-di-da-di-da-di-da. And my husband didn't get back for about 3 days, and it was very sad. But my guardian, who was an artist and a philosopher, and he's written, I don't know, about 25 books on all interesting things on philosophy and religion and all kinds of things. He was an artist, so to help me get over this awful thing, I started painting. So he started me with watercolors. That's how it all really. I mean, I'd been painting when I was younger, but not anything seriously. I just enjoyed it. But he really made me focus on learning how to do watercolor painting.
How old was Nathaniel?
5.5 months.
Wow.
So, yeah. But it's interesting because, again, I always say I wouldn't be doing I don't know. I can't say that for sure. But, I'm always very thankful to him for giving me the opportunity of painting, and a whole different take on life. It changes you. Those kind of things always change how you feel about so many things, like any traumatic situation. It gives us a different mindset, doesn't it?
I mean, I like how you took this tragedy, because it was a tragedy, and reframe it, think about it in a different way, and went forward, and putting all of that angst, anxiety, sorrow, grief into your painting. Fabulous.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel that, I think, people are very much more aware of how doing anything creatively can help you heal from death, from being divorced, from being widowed, whatever it might be. Painting for me has been something really, and I still do it. Even when I'm feeling miserable, I can draw it out, literally. And when I did a lot of art therapy stuff with patients for a while. I don't do that any longer. But it has a tremendous effect because it shows you something from inside that you can work with. Where's that come from? What's the feeling of that? And it offers you like this painting before, what's that about? Well, it could be many different things, but it's sort of saying hello and goodbye to me all at the same time. So
if I can, I just want to get back to our theme, which is turning this
Milestone.
milestone age of yours, which is fabulous. Um, how do you deal with the inevitability of aging? By that I mean physically, mentally, memory, forgetting things, tripping. Your knees may hurt. Your ass may have fallen. Your your chins your chins may be.
Stop telling your story, Danny.
I mean, my ass has fallen so much. I need a little red wagon to cart it around in.
Well, I try. I mean, today I've had, because of the move, I'm having to pack things, and I had a hip replacement a year ago, and it's had a terrible effect on my back. So today I've been in agony in my back. I don't take painkillers very often, but today I did because it was really sore, and I try not to focus on it. I mean, you can't help it because I haven't got the physical ability that I used to have. As a dancer, I was very, flexible, and I could move well and run upstairs and, hop, skip and jump. And I can't do that anymore. But I took the dog out for a walk. I did my stretching and it loosened it up a bit. And I thought, okay, I'm all right. I'm going to be fine. As far as forgetting things is concerned, I write everything down because I'll forget. Even our meeting tonight, I put it in my phone to remind me at 10 to my time, 10 to 8, because I can forget. I shouldn't be saying this really, but one of my coaching calls that I was doing with a group of people, I had about, I think, 6 or 7 people all booked in to do a coaching call on Zoom. And I remembered it in the morning, and I was all prepared, got all the notes, everything fine. And I think it was at 6:30 or something in the evening. At 7 o'clock, I thought, oh, bloody hell, I've forgotten. Bless them. There were still 2 or 3 people on the course on the Zoom, but I've completely forgotten about it. So now everything, when I've got any appointments, I'll put them in my phone as a reminder because I can forget. So yeah. So yes, that's how I deal with that.
Joy, if you could, I'm just wondering if you could draw it or paint it, what colors would be in that painting?
What would it be? It would probably be clashing orange, reds, and pinks.
Orange, reds, and pinks.
Like, oh shit, I've forgotten.
Incredible.
Oh, dearie me.
Before we wind this up, Vlad, before we do like the quick questions before we end, we do that in every episode. Vlad, do you have anything you would like to continue or ask Joy?
Well, actually, my main question is about that creativity. What do you think was your creative inner being changing? And I mean, for example, nowadays, this milestone, is your creativity the same as it was 30 years ago, 40 years ago?
Good question. Good question.
I think, it is a good question. I think in the past, I always kind of had this feeling that, how would I put it? I think I've gone past the point of saying I'm going to be a known artist or having that motivation of being, I had that, I guess, a little bit with Cabochon. And when I was dancing, it was kind of like a cool thing. I think one of the main things is I've stopped having to prove myself. And I think when you stop trying to have proving something, your creativity has an opportunity to bloom because you're not forcing the issue. We're back to that again. Always seems to come back to the same thing. So I'm kind of gone past. I don't really care what people think about my paintings any longer. I paint because I love to paint. If somebody wants to buy it, that's great. And if they don't, I don't mind. It's not something I'm having to do. So I've got over, and I think this is a really good milestone, which I feel, I don't know how you feel about this, Dan, but I think you get to an age when you think, I'm just going to be myself. And if people like me, that's fantastic. And if they don't, you can't be liked by everybody. I don't like everybody. There are some people I love and want to spend time with, and there are some people I don't want to spend time with. So I'm not going to spend time with them. It's as simple as that. So I think you get to a point where you just allow yourself to be who you are, because I'm not the kind of the sexy 30-year-old I used to be. I had that time, and now I'm kind of having fun at being 70 and having a giggle about it. I can't get into size 12 any longer. I can't wear high heels. I don't wear false eyelashes. I'm just who I am. And I like that feeling of authenticity about myself. I don't have to put on the act. And I feel that in doing that, you allow yourself to be creative.
Isn't that a big relief? Isn't that a big relief?
Massive. It's fabulous. Yeah. Because, who cares? I'm not looking for a husband. I don't want a lover. I don't have to impress anybody. And you don't have to go through all that stuff that I used to spend hours on. I mean, you'd spend hours getting ready to go out and, flirt with everybody and do all that stuff and get pissed off because your girlfriend scored and you didn't and all that thing. All that's gone. And it's just fun to be, really.
Well, I mean, Vlad is at that age. What is he, 22, 23, So what's constantly on his mind is sex. He's out. That's free. He's out every night. Come on.
Thank you. I wish I were that free now, but okay, I'm just on the way.
I would say, there are many things that I could say. If only I'd known this then, I would have made different decisions. So I would say to my 40-year-old, think twice. Don't be so not spontaneous, impetuous, I think is the right, to rush into something because it seems like a good idea at the time. It's take time to feel how you could move forward with that. And that's what I would say. I say that to my son sometimes, as he's in his 40s, and take time. If I'd taken time to think things through, things would have been, in a lot of respects, very different. But I was impetuous and I made crazy decisions, because I thought it was a good idea at the time. I don't tend to do that so much now. I still do a little bit, but I will take my time and see how it unfolds. So
I think
that's the advice I would give to myself if I was younger.
I think it is. I think you stated that very, very well, and I can certainly relate to it. as I age, and I'm sure Vlad can relate to it too. I mean, so much of my early life was appeasing others. I've got to please others.
Please.
Well, yeah, fuck that. Fuck that. Now, I am pleasing myself.
And actually, you know, in doing that, you make other people happy anyway. You know, that awful cliche thing of, if you're in an aeroplane, you have to put the mask on yourself first before you put it on your child. Well, really, you have to do that in life. But I never used to do that. I always used to be busy putting it on everybody else, and little old me, you know.
Well, like you so
came
well
in
said,
last.
being authentic, authenticity.
That could be the word for us, authenticity. It will be our day
word. Yeah, I think a really good thing to do is to have a word for the year. So, and have it on somewhere where you can see it. So,
and at the beginning of 2024, this is great.
Yeah, for me, my word this year is expansion. I want to expand what I'm doing, and so then that locks onto everything. So whether it's, rather than, I don't want my body to expand, however. that could do with shrinking a little bit.
Okay, sometimes it doesn't ask.
Okay, so with your permission, I'm just going to ask you some very quick questions, and Vlad, please chime in. My first, these are just very quick answers. What is your greatest asset, Joy?
My sense of humor.
Okay, name something you regret.
Not loving enough.
Who do you want to...
No, I'll put that a different way. Not understanding love enough.
Ah, love it, love it. Who do you want to play you in the biopic of your life?
Oh, I've got no idea. I don't know any of the actresses these days. Bette Midler.
Oh my! I love her. I love her. What is the first thing you do in the morning?
The first thing I do in the morning is I love getting up in the morning. So I always say, what's today going to bring? And I always feel that I've kind of trained my mind into waking up and thinking, oh, it's a new day. What's going to happen today? And I stroke the dog, let her out. I move the cat off the bed, have a pee, have a coffee, and get on with it.
Love it. Love it. What do you think happens after we die?
Oh, there's probably a great relief from a lot of people that are not here anymore. And what do I believe? I believe that we go back to stardust and our spirit just, consolidates itself. And reincarnation is the wrong word, but I do believe I've been here before, and I do believe I'll be here again. Not in the form of Joy Fahey, but my spirit. I know I've been here before because I've recognized places I've never been to and people I've never met before. I know that I've known them. And I have experience of past experience. So I don't believe in nothing. I think there's something, and I know spirits around me, they dive in and dive out again, and I think that's what I'll do. So watch out. If I die before you, I'll be diving in.
Good.
Hi.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you. Thank you. If you could live one day as a film star, who would you choose?
If I could live one day as a film star, who would I choose? Oh, wow. That's an amazing question. Let me think. Um, hmm. Well, I'm such a great fan of Barbara Streisand, and I feel that she is phenomenally talented, and she's just a great lady. I love her. So, yeah, I would say Barbara Streisand.
Lovely.
You'd like that, Dan. You'd
Yes.
be my friend.
Yes. Yes, I would. I would. A
Um,
friend of mine just bought me her memoir, which is, close to 1,000
oh,
pages.
wow.
Oh my.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, I would have loved to have met her, because you never know, I might do one day still. But I just think, out of my age group, she seems to have kept her life really together. She's moved forward. The other woman that I love because of her story is Tina Turner, because she went through such a challenging time. And yeah, I really had respected her. I respect Barbara Streisand. I think she's a cool lady. I
Name
like
one
her.
name one of your favorite films and why.
Oh God, I should have known that you were going to ask me this. Then you'll think I'm completely mad if I tell you what my favorite film is. The Sound of Music.
Well, that's mine, right?
I don't know, is it?
Oh,
Oh, well,
I thought,
I love.
yeah, yeah. Oh my God, The Sound of Music.
Oh, okay.
My favorite, my
I
favorite.
love The Sound of Music. It has everything in it, from love and tragedy and romance and friction, and
Music.
it was great. The music's beautiful. And it holds very many wonderful memories. I love that film.
Do you like it, Vlad?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I like it a lot. Yeah. Well, let's go on with the questions. Who would you
Okay.
wish from the death to spend an evening with?
Who would say again, sorry?
Who would you
Who's
wish?
died that I Oh, okay. Who's yeah. Let me think. Um I think I'd like to have an evening with Nelson Mandela.
Oh, wow. Wow. Cool,
Because
cool.
he went through such an amazing experience. How he managed to stay in that space in his mind all those years on that island. And I was in South Africa when he was on that island, and I wasn't aware of it enough. But yeah, I'd like to sit down and have a nice conversation with him.
Lovely, lovely. Name the very first person that just their first name, the first person you ever romantically kissed, and how old were you?
Ah, um, oh God, you know what? His name has completely left my mind. Stuart. His name was Stuart, and we were in Spain, and I was 13, and we met on holiday there, obviously, and he was the first boy I kissed. And we used to listen to Ray Charles, who I loved, and the song that stays with me the most is Whiter Shade of Pale. From then, they used to play it on the jukebox in the cafe.
Wow.
Stuart, and
what city?
he lived in Croydon, just outside of London.
What city in Spain?
Was it Spain or was it me? I think it was Mallorca, actually. Peguera was place it was called. Yeah.
I see that Spain is very present in your life.
Yeah, it is. It is really. It's amazing. Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
let's get to the next question. Pay attention to the first word. What, not who, do you wear to bed at night?
What I missed what you said. What do I wear to?
Bed at night.
Um, what a strange question. I wear a very long t-shirt in the winter and nothing in the summer.
I like it. That's Spain.
Like it.
Andalusia.
I wouldn't wear anything at all, but it's too damn cold otherwise in the winter.
And
And I'll just tell you something funny, Dan. You know that big bedspread that you gave me?
yes,
Do you ever remember?
I
Right,
do.
that's not that is my under thing on my bed. So I sleep on top of that every night.
Ah, I love it.
Okay.
You know what? I actually thought of an ending question while we're talking. So, Vlad, why don't you go ahead with the next to last question?
Next question.
The easiest maybe to answer. Who knows? So, what is happiness for you?
Oh, what's happiness? Gosh. Staying alive, staying alive. What's happiness? Feeling I'm achieving something every day.
Nice.
I feel.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I like to have felt that I've done something in the day that's been worthwhile doing. Well, and that could be as little as saying hello to somebody as a big thing. But I always like to feel that at the end of the day, I've done something that's worthwhile doing. And
So
that makes me happy.
this will be the last question. Give us one word that describes Joy Fahey. One word.
Oh my goodness. One word. Optimistic.
I like it. Joy, please share.
Is that all right?
It's fantastic. Please, I would like. Well, we have this privilege of talking to you and connect to your creativity, to the joy I feel.
Whoa.
Well, when you're a podcast. So, what can people do? Where can people find our listeners can find your courses and
Okay.
things?
Yeah.
Have this privilege too.
Well, my website is Joy Fahey, and Fahey is actually spelled Fahey. So if I was in Ireland, it would be Fahey, but I'm not. So it's joyfahyartist.com. And you'll find my paintings on there. You'll find all the different online art courses that I have. And I have also a free one that people can take. And this year I'm very excited. If I've got time, just to say, I'm putting on 2 creative art retreats and putting creative art together with yoga and dance. And I found this wonderful place called the Little Alhambra, which is a beautiful big Spanish cortijo. And they've designed the gardens as a mini Alhambra Palace garden. It's absolutely divine. And it's hidden in the hills, and you've got the views of the village and the mountains and the sea. It's fantastic. So I've got one going for a week in May and one in September. And I've got quite a few people already booked in, but it's going to be a fantastic week of creative painting, intuitive painting, yoga and dance. So that's on my website. I'm very excited about it because I think it'll be really, really great. We'll have a super week.
Well, this has been a wonderful conversation. And we thank our lovely guest, Joy, for time today. And thank you, audience members who are watching, for joining us. And stay tuned for our next rousing and exhilarating guest for our next episode.
And please subscribe to
Ooh.
be notified of our episodes and get full updates from us. Also, be sure and like our channel as well. Adios.
Adios. Ciao.
Adios. Thank you.
And
Thank you.
goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.